O'Brien was going to join us, and we were hoping that he would, but I believe some things have gone on that have caused him to rehearse with the band, and he couldn't be here at the moment. So sad to say that I don't think he's going to join us this afternoon. But he was on a couple of tracks on the album, and does the great Tim O'Brien singing. Want to move down to the end here. I first saw you at the Birchmere with Boone Creek. You know, his time goes way back to Country Gentleman.
That could figure into my story as well.
Yeah. You remember a band called Bluegrass?
Yes. I remember their album cover.
I was there. Yeah. After the Birchmere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Blanket apology.
Yeah, we had a good time. He's Jerry Douglas. He's on 3 tracks on the album and did some pretty special stuff, and I'm going to ask Akira to ask a question about that. But before we get there, I just want to give you an open mic to share some of your wit.
Yeah, it won't last long. You know, Ron said something about John that not a lot of people know, is that he could come off as gruff, and you know, he was not the guy that you wanted to hecklers. Bad idea. John could put them in their place so fast, you know. So I'm getting paid to be an asshole up here. Things like that. But I'm sorry, there are kids in here. It's going to get worse. But he was this really sweet guy. Just so sweet. And every time I talked to him, I mean, I had such great respect for him. I used to go to Berryville, Virginia, and see the festivals from like 1968 on. I was there. I was a little kid, and I was there. My dad would take his vacations from the steel mill, and they all revolved around July the 4th and being in Berryville, Virginia, Watermelon Park, and being at these festivals. And I remember I have pictures that I took of the Country Gentlemen all coming off from across the road, all coming off of a hill, and I don't know what they were doing up there. I mean, the 4 of them didn't really like hanging out together that much, but they all coming down the hill, and I took pictures of them, and I gave Duffey one of them later on, and he said, "What the hell were we doing up there?" I didn't go. I thought about going up to see, but I didn't. You know, you'll be happy to know. They were. You know, I had pictures of them like trying to get across a barbed wire fence and stuff like that. So I guess I'm a stalker, really. But that was when I was 12 years old. I've gotten a lot better at it. But he was a wonderful man, and I remember I was in Dublin, Ireland, working on a record in December of '96 when Duffey died, and I just sat down and cried. It was just I'd lost a piece of my childhood. I'd lost a friend, so many things, and but he was a gruff human being, but that was only his stage thing. I mean, he'd walk in the back door of the Birchmere or the Red Fox, and with this little box, you know, it looked like you carried harmonicas in it or something, but it was to mix his drinks. He had a mandolin case in one hand and this drink case in the other hand, and I'm wondering who has the drink case, because I'd love to have it. I don't drink, but I'd just like to have it. But okay, God, oh, this is terrible. But I'll get to that later. Oh man, you'll see. But I remember having dinner with him in Lexington, Kentucky. We were both playing the Festival of Bluegrass there, and I went with him and to the restaurant, and he ordered a steak. Like he always ordered. He ordered a steak, and I understand he would eat a dozen eggs for breakfast every day. I mean, so this guy was going to explode at some point, right? Anyway, So the steak came, and he took the salt shaker and he started salting the steak and talking to me. It was just like, and I went, John, that's not really that good for you, you know, to do that to your steak. And he said, what? You just pretty much shut up, you know. So he did that, and I imagine he did that a lot. And don't do that. But he was a really sweet man and was always so nice to me and liked the idea that I played the dobro because he really loved playing dobro. And Bill Emerson told me a story one time about when they were playing in the what was it? It's the Shamrock in Georgetown in the early days of the Country Gentlemen, and I played in there later on, and I remember they had a sign on one of the mic stands that said, "Yes, we have cold duck." That was like the big deal, and that's the kind of place they were playing, but it was a big deal in those days. But Bill Emerson told me that his brother, he had a big brother, and this guy was huge. And you know, there were the Yates brothers who beat up 18 cops in Georgetown one time before they were thrown in a cop car. But there were also the Emerson brothers who were equally mean. And John said he picked up the dobro and he played a song on the dobro and he put it down and went back to the mandolin, and he came back to, you know, he played for a while, played mandolin, Charlie and Eddie and John and Tom Gray, and then he went back to go get the dobro again, and Emerson's brother said, "Don't pick up that dobro. You pick up the dobro one more time, I'll kill you." So John left it there. He didn't, and he was not the guy that you saw on stage. Privately, he was a sweetheart. You couldn't be a kinder man than him. And you know, I regret that I didn't know him better than I did. But I would go when John Starling was doing surgery late. They'd call me, and I would go play Mike Aldridge's parts in the Seldom Scene, and Mike would play guitar and sing lead, and it was a completely different, you know, show. But it was still the Seldom Scene, just slightly shifted. But I had some really good times with Duffey. He was always funny, but he was like a Johnny Carson. You heard Johnny Carson, like as soon as he left the stage, he was not funny. Duffey was not funny, you know, if he wasn't on stage. As soon as he hit the stage, and he had these squirrely pants, you know, that he'd wear. I mean, all kinds of weird stuff. I just think he was wonderful, and especially at that point where the Seldom Scene kind of exploded. And I thought, well, that's it. I guess that's it. But he and Ben somehow strapped it all back together. And I told John, I said, I really admire that you didn't just give up, throw him down, you know. And because you could have walked away at any time, but he didn't. He really loved playing this music, and he was a great guy. He loved fans, especially the hecklers. And I still miss it.
Thank you, Gary. That's very